Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I go over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. I am back. I'm refreshed from Christmas because we had Christmas and then CES, and so it's been a long while since the last newscast. I think it's been about exactly a month. So, did you miss me? I missed you. Let's get into the news. Do you want to play native online Dreamcast games easily? Well, Flycast now has support for DCNet, which is a way to play native online multiplayer Dreamcast games. My understanding is that every single operating system has access to this when you grab the latest Flycast release and you follow the instructions. And there's also a list of games that are currently supported. Honestly, this Reddit post does a lot better than I will ever do explaining the entire thing, so you should definitely check it out. Android 13 is out for the Retroid Pocket Mini. I actually attempted flashing this when it came out, and I had the same issues that I had when I had to flash the pre-release Retroid Pocket 5 to the retail firmware update way back when I had that pre-release and we got the new update for retail and all that sort of thing. I spent an entire morning trying this and going through it, and I was writing out potential pitfalls for anybody that might run into issues like I did, and how to solve them, and all that sort of thing. And at the end of it, I just ended up not being able to finish it. Now, this is entirely a me skill issue, I think. There's weirdness with Windows. When I had to do this for the Retroid Pocket 5, I had to boot into safe mode and then disable driver signing and all of that. But either way, I just couldn't get it to work, and then I stopped caring. And then I realized I don't actually need Android 13 on my Retroid Pocket Mini. And so status quo is exactly where I am at. But if you do want to do it, then you should probably check it out and probably find some instruction somewhere. Retroid also released an over-the-air update for the Retroid Pocket 5 with a bunch of bug fixes. I can safely say that I think I dodged every single issue in this over-the-air update, but it is awesome that it's there to fix those issues for people that had them. Apparently, this causes an issue with your SD card not being able to be accessed by your apps anymore. There is a fix posted on the Discord that you need to run a script to solve, but my understanding is you actually need to run that script every single time you boot up the device. So it's fine if you're putting it into sleep mode, but if you constantly restart, then I think you have to run that script every single time. But don't quote me. Now, personally, I haven't and won't be updating to this over-the-air update because of that issue and other issues, so I'm just going to wait. They're apparently going to have a new over-the-air update when they come back from the Chinese New Year, and I'm assuming that'll fix this concern and maybe any others that pop up. So maybe the name of the game for Retroid over-the-air updates and updates is just to wait a little bit. That seems correct. Question of the week. In light of my Odin 2 portal arriving, and I was pretty upfront in my review that I just didn't really care about it before I got it, and now I can't wait for my white model to arrive on Friday, which is today, I guess, as of this going up. But now I can't wait for it to come out because I have been engrossed and enamored with the Odin 2 portal. It's the only thing that I want to play right now, and it is making some waves in my household of what I should be using on a daily basis. I'm doing a lot of different things. We'll talk about that later. But I'm curious. Question of the day. When is the last time that you had something that was something that maybe you weren't super interested in and then you got it and it either changed your life or it made you super more interested in it or just did a complete 180 in your thoughts on it? I don't know if this happens to a lot of other people besides reviewers because I'm in that position to get things that maybe I'm not super interested in and then it changes my mind, but I'm curious. Let me know, when's the last time that you got something that you didn't care about and then you super did care about? I'm being very sly on the portal thing for a specific reason. We'll talk about that in future videos, but it is changing some things in how I play some games and for the better. So we'll talk about that. Hey, so remember that Anbernic RG34XX that just released? Well, guess what? I am sure that you all saw this coming because I did. They are making an Anbernic RG34XXSP. So get excited. But it's not just that. They are actually using a better processor. They're going to make some other changes for the better compared to the original SP. So there are some things changing. So in true Anbernic fashion, if there's a device that you don't like, just wait a week. You'll have one that maybe you do like. Or if something comes out and you're like, man, this is awesome, just wait another week and it'll be even more awesome. So yeah, Anbernic, way to go. Now, this one absolutely makes sense, but this just furthers the point that everybody says when it comes to Anbernic, that they don't give you what you want in that first iteration, because it's been a few months since the original SP, the 35XXSP. There was absolutely no way they didn't know about this 34XXSP back then. That's just not how things work. So 100%, they could have just done that originally and given everybody what they wanted, but they decided to sell that 4x3 version first to get all your money for that one. And now they're selling this one for the 3x2 version. That is probably what everybody wanted originally, myself included. And yeah, so double dipping. Ambernick, the Grand Theft Auto of hardware manufacturers for handhelds. Now, if I look at the original SP, there are two things that I would definitely need to be changed before I even consider using it. The first one, USB-C to C charging, absolutely needs to be there, and some sort of battery safety protection. Those two things are the biggest things that I care about. The rest are all things that can change. Buttons can change, screen can change, all that sort of thing. Even though the screen on the 34XX is super dim and not that great, in my opinion, all of that are fine. You can get used to it. But USB-C to C charging and battery protection are like safety standards at this point. They should be in there. Personally, I'm just not that interested in any devices that don't have USB-C to C charging anymore, so that's probably not going to be on my list going forward. But I'm curious. Let me know in the comments what you're looking for out of this, if it's just small improvements or if you have some better ideas. Okay, so I said I would not talk about or review this company's devices anymore, and I kind of have to break my word here. Gamma of Gamma OS fame, a close friend of mine, basically begged me, he's going to say he didn't, but basically begged me to check out the new Magic X Mini 028. I have to look at my notes because that's just a weird name. But the Mini 028. Now, as a reminder, this is the same company that released the XU10 and the XU Mini M with not the right processor inside of the device. So it was supposed to have a single processor, ended up having a worse one, ended up creating all this drama and a debacle, and the resulting devices weren't great anyways. The XU Mini M was pretty lackluster in every single way. This is their re-attempt at releasing that XU Mini M. Now, this replacement for the XU Mini M is a completely changed device. It is, if you look at it, it is a complete change in every single way. It looks like they took a lot of the feedback from my review, and I don't know about other reviews, but at least my review, all of the issues and concerns that I had seem to be areas of improvement that they took and they did for this device, which is weird because I was told by the Magic X community that my concerns were not real. But if they weren't, then why would a company fix them? I don't know. But either way, props to Magic X for at least trying to fix them. We'll see if they did when I actually get it in my hands, because that is the burying the lead of the story here. Magic X is actually sending me one for review, and have to thank Gamma for this one. Now, I wanted to take a second to call this out because I was pretty scathing about Magic X last year, both in my review of the device as well as future videos, because of what happened with the wrong processor and all that sort of thing. So even in my Handheld of the Year video, I was pretty scathing about them. And despite all of that, they are still sending me a device for review. They are already better than Ambernick and Ioneo in that front, because this is a company that either has a lot of faith in their product and they want to shut up their biggest critic when it comes to this device, and so they are still sending it. And so props to them. No matter what, fair point on all of this, props to them for actually sending the device. It is absolutely silly that I even have to point this out. Positive or negative reviews should not affect your future ability to receive those reviews unless you are unfair in that review and completely wrong in that review. In my scenario, I obviously wasn't, considering they fixed the things that I brought up. But either way, there are definitely scenarios where I can consider and see why a company would blacklist a reviewer. Giving a negative review is not one of them. So yeah, Ioneo, Ambernick, maybe take a page out of Magic X's book in this scenario here. Now, I know very little about this device. I know it is Android and apparently runs off the SD card. And I know that there's 2 gigabytes of RAM because Gamma was very excited about that. And it looks like the Magic X XU Mini M, except it is built better and all this sort of thing. So I know nothing else. I've done no research on this. I have not followed their 20 or so lineup of devices that they have coming out, all of that. All I know is it is coming in for review. I will give it a fair review. We will check it out. I am in the market for a mini type device, so it is very, very what's the word for it? Time, whatever. You know what I mean. Very, very on time with the release here because it could hit nicely for what I'm looking for in a mini device. And if not, I'll just blame Gamma, so watch out, Gamma. Powkiddy has a V20 coming. They're going to be using the new hotness chip of the A133P, and all heat puns are intended there. 3.5-inch 640 by 480 screen because reasons. Powkiddy still is in 2022. 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Support for USB-C charging, apparently. Usually they say that on these spec sheets and then it's never actually true. And otherwise it looks like a V10 with 2 sticks added. So they kind of caught up to Anbernic's RG353V series at this point. So good job, Powkiddy, it's 2023. I don't see Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on the spec sheet, so I am actually instantly out of this. What do you think? Are you interested or not? I feel like every time I bring up a Powkiddy device, it is something from 4 or 3 years ago, and they're trying to pass it off as new. Now, I fully expect this will be a cheaper device, and that seems to be what they are doing, re-releasing 2022 and 2023 devices that others have made in cheaper price points. And so there are probably some people that are caring about that, but no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. I don't remember if there's video out. I'd have to double check. I'm reading off a script and I don't remember what's on there. So I don't know. Are you interested? Let me know. It's a Powkiddy device. Speaking of a company that is stuck in the past, GKD is releasing the Pixel 2. I'm still waiting for them to release the Pixel 1, but hey, it's number 2. The Pixel 2 has a 2.4-inch screen once again, but it's a higher resolution at 640 by 480 compared to previously at 320 by 240. They're using the RG34XXSP processor here, which is much better in performance compared to their older Ingenic chip that they were using. Battery got an upgrade from 1300 milliamp hours to 1800 milliamp hours, and apparently it supports USB-C charging now, but we'll see. They added vibration and sleep mode and on-the-go support. And they apparently made the GKD Pixel 2 slightly larger. Price-wise, this is $80 right now. So I've been very vocal about my issues with the Pixel 1. They released it in a broken state with broken video and audio and frame rate issues, and didn't fix it, and custom firmware couldn't fix it, and it is still broken to this day. They have not released a single patch for that device. Another weird thing, when they released it, or before release, they actually said it had Wi-Fi, and it didn't. And then there's a whole bunch of issues, and then it was discontinued, and now this is apparently the replacement. Point being, GKD doesn't have my full support when it comes to devices because they just kind of throw them out to die. So my point being, the GKD Pixel 2, despite the fact that I do have one coming, is gonna be probably the same thing. The only difference here, I think, is that RG33XXSP processor allows them to get away with it because custom firmware will be available for this device. And so they can just point to that and be like, oh, you guys fix it, like we usually do. And that is super annoying. Now, there are a lot of people that like the GKD Pixel 1 for whatever reason, and I could see why you might like it if it was a good device, but it just isn't. And so the Pixel 2 is looking to be probably better in a lot of different ways, but at some point, GKD actually has to take ownership and do things for the device. You can't just rely on custom firmware every single time. At least put some sort of effort in. Throw out a firmware update or something. Do something. But they were pretty upfront with the GKD Pixel 1 that they weren't going to do anything for it. So at that point, why am I buying an $80 RG33XXSP processor device? I don't know. Whatever. GKD could do whatever they want. We will review this device and see if it is actually good, but that stuff just bothers me. At some point, these companies actually need to put effort in and just stop worrying or hoping that we will fix everything they do. The Nintendo Switch 2 was announced, and then there was reaction videos that were longer than the actual teaser video and tried to make up all this sort of information that you think the Nintendo Switch 2 would have, because the trailer was only 2 minutes and 21 seconds from what I remember. And then you have reaction videos that are like 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. I don't even know what you can talk about. It's the Switch 2. It is bigger than the Switch 1. It's going to play Switch games, Switch 2 games, and it's by Nintendo. There you go. If you didn't watch my thought video on the Switch 2, you should definitely watch that because I perfectly encapsulated everything that you should know about the Switch 2 in a very quick time. Now, in my personal thoughts, I was really hoping that the leaks were wrong and it wasn't a bigger Switch. I was hoping for a Switch Lite type of device, although I'm sure they're going to make a Switch 2 Lite and a Switch 2 V2 and a Switch 2 OLED and all that sort of thing. But an 8-inch or bigger Switch OLED or Switch 2 doesn't super interest me. It is just way too big. It doesn't make sense for what the device is. If you want a bigger screen, you dock the device. That is the entire point of it. So why would you make the screen bigger when it is supposed to be a portable device? You instantly just got rid of the portable aspect of the Switch 2 and completely removed the entire point of it. So I don't know. I don't get it. I'm still going to buy it because I'm a degenerate and I like Nintendo things. So I'll be buying that one and the Switch 2 OLED and the Switch 2 Lite and all that sort of thing. But I'm going to do it begrudgingly because it's not what I wanted, but it's what I got. And if I want to play Nintendo games, that is the only way I can do so. So I have to kind of buy it. Anyway, Switch 2 is coming in a few months, and you should check out my recap video of that Switch 2 announcement trailer. It is full to the brim of information. Appreciate you all for watching, and that's all from me, Tokyo.